pod cave.
And welcome back to another edition of the Podmen. I'm Brad.
I'm Brian.
I'm Podman Ron.
All right, everybody's got audio now. We had a little bit of trouble in the engineering room, but I think we got everybody ready to go. Podman Ron, you were asking about the Moon Knight trailer that's supposed to drop any moment now. Any moment during a football game. And my thing was, don't they know those audiences don't mix?
Yeah. Well,
back when we were kids, they would have loved to have had Spider-Man run on the field at some football game, and try and get the Marvel rub from the NFL, and now it's flipped.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're right.
Well, maybe we'll have that for the next episode.
I was, I don't know. Did either one of y'all see the little clip of the clip of the clip?
The clip of the clip?
Yeah, it had like a little clip of the trailer, and it showed like Moon Knight in his costume, and his costume is kind of like Venom's costume, where it just kind of wraps around him on its own.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're going to say it's like Egyptian.
Well, that's what.
Mummification.
Actually, that's what it looks like. It looks like a mummy with a cloak on, and that's actually it's not bad. I think it looks kind of cool, and I never really thought about Moon Knight being a mummy, but it all makes kind of sense.
It all makes sense. Well, I was wondering how quickly he was going to get that costume on and off.
Yeah,
because it looked very complicated to put on. So we'll see when the trailer drops any moment now. So Brian, maybe you can keep us up to date if during the podcast.
Breaking news on the podcast.
There you go. And speaking of news. All right, speaking of news and costumes, we get a first look at Batgirl, the Batgirl costume. And PMR, you said, not too bad, right?
Yeah, I liked it. It held back to the old days, the 1960s Batgirl, Yvonne Craig. Matter of fact,
okay.
The team looked almost identical to that. And so, yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
So a little bit throwback to the 60s, but also more recent, right? There's not Bombshell Batgirl, but something like that, right, Brian?
Yeah, that's her costume when they relaunched the book, I think in 2019. That was what they changed the costume to. So, it's what she's had in the comics for a bit. But it looks good. Looks really good.
Yeah, everybody's, of course, fanboys around the globe are already criticizing it, saying it looks like cosplay. And, that's what they do, though. Yeah,
they're going to. Everybody wants to shit on everything. I mean, of course, we do it weekly here, but, it just seems like...
Wait till you get to Boba Fett. Yeah.
Shit on
We got our own podcast. I mean, come on, people.
We don't try to shit on it until we, see a little bit more of it. I guess. No,
I don't know if that's true either.
Yeah, you're right. Let me just say, I didn't think it looked that bad. I don't know why we need a Batgirl movie right now.
No, more than ever.
But I guess we'll get what we get.
Well, and it sounds like what they're doing is, since it's Michael Keaton's going to be the Batman in this, Batgirl and Nightwing, so it's going to be, just don't bother with Batman relaunching. Batman's in his own universe over in the Matt Reeves stuff. And so, but I mean, which would be kind of cool if you're getting like Nightwing. It's basically going to be Gotham Knights, is what it sounds like. It's heading into Gotham Knights, and they're going to steal some of the Batman Beyond.
But isn't it a shame that we can't get just that decent Batman movie that can give us these sequels, and make it feel like it, flows from this Batman movie, and kind of it's canon from these instead of you've got like 4 different Batmans and nothing everything spins off from different shit.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with if that's what they're doing. I'm fine with it because it's like you've still got Batman stories to tell. Cool, there's still a Batman comic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they keep rebooting Batman and we're never going to get to Nightwing. We're never going to get to Batman Beyond. Like, not in our lifetimes. So, like, I'm cool with them kind of spinning off and telling some more, maybe more one-shot Batman movies, and then advancing the universe, even if it's based off the old Keaton Batman stories.
I did see a new trailer for The Batman, and it's probably the first one I actually liked. It showed it seems like a lot of Batman's going to be in it, which
a lot of Batman.
Well, it is called a Batman movie.
Oh, well,
It seems odd.
but
This one's got you more excited about it. This trailer.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. It was a better trailer. It seemed a little bit more interesting. You got to, like I said, you got to see a lot of the interplay between him and Catwoman in it. Yeah, it for the first time. I'm like, okay, this movie looks pretty decent.
Well, I just hope that Batman kills somebody in it so that the fanboys will start bitching about that.
Well, and I honestly feel like this is, it's going to be they're saying this is the Nolan, as close as you're going to get to Nolan's Batman 4. It's not Bale, but it's in that same sort of vein. This last trailer felt like it was a Nolan movie.
So it's the Batman outside your window? Is that what you're trying to say?
I have no idea what that means.
It means like the Nolan film was like set more in real world.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't so, suspension of disbelief. I mean, you had you didn't seem like there would be a Superman in the Nolanverse or any of the other heroes in the Nolanverse. So
yeah, I don't think you're getting that in the Matt Reeves Batman.
Yeah.
Well, because he said at the very beginning of all this, we haven't had Dark Knight Detective.
Right.
So that's what this is. We're getting a Batman detective.
And he's right. He's right. Not, but I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I will say it does look good. So.
All right. Well, good. Well, it's only a couple of months before that comes out, so you won't have to wait too long for that. Going back to Batgirl, the other thing that they showed us was a little bit of a scene of a poster or some graffiti or something like that at Gotham Terminal or a subway, and you see Batman and Robin in the old Robin costume.
Huh? I didn't catch that.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go back and check that out. Not in that same picture of her standing on top of a building, but there's other, photo leaks and stuff like that.
Which Batman, which Robin?
It's Robin with the shorty shorts on, it looks like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what we're getting. Like, this is going to be, we're getting Batgirl, and then we'll get Nightwing.
Right. So check that out. Check that out, you son of a gun. Speaking of guns, James Gunn.
What would be cool is if they did a Duella
I had a
Dent.
perfect segue there.
I'm so sorry. They could do Duella Dent and make it Joker's daughter. So
that's a horrible idea.
It's a horrible idea?
Because you stepped on my segue.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You son of a gun.
Sorry.
Speaking of guns, James Gunn is also the hot off the heels of the success of Peacemaker, which we'll may get into a little bit. James Gunn may be directing another DC series. Any thoughts on that?
What series?
That's what I want your thoughts on, Podman Ron. Give me a Nerdstradamus prediction here.
I'm not good with that.
No.
I'm not. What's DC got? What bottom are they going to drag up for?
Maybe a hardcore spinoff? Just her all the time?
Hanging her in real life, I guess he could do a hardcore.
So how do you say her name without saying hardcore? By the way,
I know, hardcore. But let's before we, because we're hitting a couple of different things.
We're all over the place.
Some inside baseball here, real quick. We got the announcement that James Gunn's doing another DC project after Peacemaker. He has said he's not let anybody see the Peacemaker finale. No one's seen it. Like nobody has screened it, I guess, other than just DC execs or Warner Brothers execs. So the Peacemaker finale is big hush hush, and that's the assumption. That's where you're gonna have to spin off of whoever the next character is. But
Brian, I mean, who do you?
I don't know. I gotta mull it over a bit. I need a little more time to mull it over. I would think that since the whole thing with the butterflies is, you realize it's secret invasion, right? It's aliens invading, and they can shapeshift into humans.
Yeah, well, they take over the human's body.
Well, right, but it's same thing. So it could be something grounded again, or it could be something spacey.
Well, knowing James Gunn, it'll probably be something spacey, and I think it's hell, it could be I don't know, Booster Gold or some shit like that.
God, I would love Booster Gold.
I don't know. Margot Robbie's looking for a job.
Who?
Harley Quinn.
Harley. Yeah, I feel like we've seen that. It would be cool though if it was Booster. Was a great idea.
Yeah. Anything James Gunn will do,
I've pitched Booster a few times. So,
yeah,
I've pitched Booster a few times.
That one series that about 10 or 15 years ago was probably the best that they did on him, and they should have kept it around.
With Jeff Johns.
Yeah, that was a good series.
What series?
Booster Gold.
Okay. Comic book series, not TV series.
Oh, no.
I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell happened there? All right, so
yeah, you could do Booster, and he could be traveling around the universe. You could get all these weird characters, like Space Cabbie. You know, you could.
Yeah, he could do
all kind. Gnort. You could bring in.
DC has a plethora of bizarre, shitty characters from the 70s and 80s that James Gunn could bring up. So, and I'm sure he will. So I'm looking forward to that, actually. Right. I kind of like how DC's just kind of embraced him, and he's kind of embraced them, and
I think we're kind of in like a DC renaissance as far as teams, films, and movies, because it's like they finally realized, stop trying to copy the Marvel formula. You've got great characters, and you've got a great back catalog, and be weird.
Well,
be weird.
I think what James Gunn is kind of doing is kind of making his own DC universe, the James Gunn, like the Snyderverse. This is the James Gunn verse, and you're gonna hear him say Superman, the Batman in the background, but you're all these D-level characters, and that's where he's gonna play at.
That's the way it was in the comics too. I mean, you'd have these characters that were so far off the path. I mean, occasionally, every like 10 or 12 issues, they'd mention like something that was happening in the DC proper. So you knew, hey, don't forget they're in the DC universe. But they'd get so far out on a tangent. I'll tell you what else I would love. Like, and this is probably way, like, not going to happen. But it'd be cool if they did a Hitman series.
I never read that book.
I never read it.
Well, you never read Hitman?
No.
Garth Ennis Hitman? Holy shit.
No.
Holy shit. Podman Ron.
It went like 80 issues. I know what somebody's getting for their birthday.
Whether he wants it or not.
Whether he wants it or not.
Hey, I'm all for it. I knew it was a good. I mean, everybody talked about it back in the day, but I just never read it.
It's kind of like Lost in Space. Everybody talks about what a great show that is. I just never watch it. And Justified.
There's I think it was issue 7 or 8 of Hitman is where it, like, everybody realized what the hell it was. But there's like, I think there's something at the aquarium, and all the penguins in the aquarium enclosure become rabid, and so he just has to wholesale slaughter all of them because there's penguins attacking him. So,
all right, no spoilers. I'm thinking maybe if James Gunn can't get Bug in the Microverse, maybe he gets Ambush Bug in the DC. That would be kind of fun. And we've already heard mention of Batmite, so maybe a Batmite thing. So anyway,
that's a good. That's
the saddest thing though is that he's boning hardcore.
That's the sad thing. I get more respect for him because she's kind of hot.
She's that character's grown on me in 3 episodes already.
We don't get to that review yet, or are we just going to do news right now? Let's just finish news.
Yeah, totally. I don't know if we even want to review it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we'll figure it out. All right.
But hardcore. And so I found this out. The listener may not know.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, they posted a photo because I follow James Gunn on Instagram. He posted a photo and she's in it, and I'm like, and so I looked, and that's when I found out that they were dating. Right?
Very
that
disappointing.
James Gunn's dating
Dating?
hardcore.
7 years, and they were introduced by Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville fame, Lex Luthor.
Evil genius.
But Brad, do you know who his significant other was before Harcourt?
Who? What other hottie could he have had?
Pam from The Office.
What?
And they were married for 8 years.
Oh my God! And she got rid of him because he was such a pervert. You think?
Probably.
Yeah.
She
I mean,
unhitched her wagon at the wrong time.
what's that?
She unhitched her wagon to him at the wrong time. Her star was on the rise. His wasn't there yet.
And
Good for him, bad for
Their
her.
fates have crossed.
Yep, now it's crossed because she's doing Office Ladies.
And he's doing Ambush Bog TV
More
show.
successful podcast than this one is. So
Yeah, that's true too. That's a little bit better, higher quality audio.
Higher quality audio for sure. I can't necessarily understand what PMR's saying.
We understand the sentiment. All right,
I can't understand. I know he's insulting Jenna Fisher,
Yeah.
but I can't
I'm not
understand the
insulting.
context of it.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Okay, I'm not insulting Jenna Fisher. I'm just saying she has a podcast.
Yep, there you go. All right. We don't have to cause any controversy because there's enough controversy going on with Miss Marvel. Brian, they're going back and reshooting some of Miss Marvel because she's not ethnic enough or too ethnic. What's going on here?
Oh Lord,
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of
so,
where to peel back those.
Yeah, I think because Kamala Khan is Muslim, but then they hired a non-Muslim actress, and so I guess that was like the first thing. But it kind of like I didn't hear anything about that until recently, right? Now everybody's pissed because they've changed her powers. So instead of, in the comics, she can stretch. Just like Mr. Fantastic, right?
Okay.
Plastic. She can stretch, and her big it's clobbering time phrase. Her catchphrase is "embiggen." Like, so when she goes to like stretch or pump something, she'll shout "embiggen," and her hand will get huge.
Ugh, I hate her already.
Yeah. She's more Plastic Man than she is Reed Richards.
Okay.
Right? So, she does like the kind of zany sort of
Gotcha.
body work. But they've changed it, and now her powers work like a Green Lantern. She does force blasts,
okay.
and she can make light projections, so people are hot. Yeah.
All right.
But I wonder who's sitting at home thinking,
Wondering about Miss Marvel.
son of a bitch, they changed that power. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that because I'd probably, if it was one of my beloved characters,
He is
I would be going, son
PMR
of a
tonight.
bitch.
Yeah. But it sounds like that actually would make more sense instead of her being Plastic Man-y or whatever. And I don't know that because I don't even know this character, but having the Miss Marvel moniker and
Right.
Captain Marvel and Photon and all that stuff, having light
energy powers.
Energy probably makes more sense, but I don't know.
But I guess if you love this character,
Yeah.
like we all love our own characters, that when they do change them, I guess it is that sucks. Now the whole Muslim.
Yeah, now
stuff,
those people can kiss it.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, let's talk about something that makes you both happy.
What?
Quantum Leap, Justified, and the Santa Claus. What kind of world do we live in where all three of these series are coming back? Or I guess Santa Claus been making a series out of it.
Well, the Santa Claus I could care less about, but the other two,
Well, Alex posted that, so
especially Justified, I'm very excited about. I'm like through the roof.
all right. And Quantum Leap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh man,
they
back in
changed
the
his
90s?
powers though, from what I hear.
They changed.
Son of a bitch!
Son of a bitch.
All right.
No, it'll be good to see Quantum Leap. That show is it going to be just a regular show again, or are they rebooting it to?
Well, it's just a pilot order right now,
We don't know,
but
that
it's a
yet.
pilot order.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be, a 10-episode season on, Peacock.
Peacock.
I mean, it's not going to, NBC, the mothership.
No, it's not that.
But yeah. But that's what I want. I want it to be lower stakes, like from the advertiser standpoint and the rating standpoint, because we'll get more. Lower stakes means there's a better chance we'll get a season 2 or a season 3. Lower stakes means it'll be 10 episodes instead of stretching it to 23 and losing, telling goofy ass stories just to stretch the season out. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it being on Peacock. So, and God, I loved Quantum Leap. Like, that was one of my all-time. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. It was always so good. It was always can't miss TV for me. And it always ended on such a bummer, right? Where the finale episode, he's in this bar and he's talking to the bartender. And they kind of allude, and he's telling the bartender all his woes, and he's Sam Beckett in those interstitials, and he's jumping back and trying to fix Al's life, his marriage, and everything, right? And so he fixes Al's life, and then he comes back to the bar, and then you kind of realize, well, the bartender's God, and basically telling him, he says you can go home whenever you want to. And then it cuts to black, and then it's like Stan Beckett never went home.
So where'd he go?
I guess he kept helping people. Like he kept. It was like, well, you can go home, or you can keep helping people, And so he chose to keep helping people.
Wait, did we switch over to Highway to Heaven, or what are we talking about?
No, we're talking to Quantum Leap.
Oh, okay. Were they the same show, Highway to Heaven and Quantum Leap?
Eventually, yes.
That would have been a great crossover.
Yeah, they're both trying to help somebody and screwing up their lives over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quantum Leap was a good show. I'm looking forward to seeing that come back. And of course, Justified. I mean, come on, there is no show that's ever been as good as.
I was thinking about when the episode. What was Jerry Burns' character's name?
Oh shit! That makes me just. But
it was in. I think it was in season 3 when he's talking to him and they're like back and forth, and he tosses a bullet at him.
Oh yeah.
And he catches it and he goes, "Good catch. The next one will be coming faster."
Yeah, that's a great.
That's a great line. I love Justified. It's so good. But they said it's going to be a limited series, which is fine. Again,
not fine, Brian. It's not. It needs to be
at some point. Podman Ron says enough's with this bullshit.
7 seasons of Justified. It should never ended to begin with, but whatever.
Well, I think what you're going to get. This is what I envision. It's one of Elmore Leonard's other books.
Right.
That wasn't Raylan, but they've kind of kicked out the detective that was in it, put Raylan in, and kind of refit the story for Raylan. But I think it's set in Detroit, and he's solving something in Detroit. But my thought is, the end of the season, that's when Boyd gets paroled.
That would be good.
So the end of it is Boyd's back on the streets.
I mean, they could do you remember the old Perry Masons and the old reunion shows that would come out every couple of years.
Like when they used to do the Andy Griffith specials and the
Murdoch. I mean the
Matlock specials. Yeah, that made for TV movies.
Yeah, they could do made for me TV movies every couple of years. I'd be happy with that. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I wonder if he's going to wear his signature hat, or is he going to?
Of course he is.
No. You remember at the end of the season, he got that goofy hat from
that kid.
Yep, because his got a. So he was, and that hat at the end of the show was the one he actually wore in the novel. So that's why they gave it to him, that hat at the end, because that was more in line with. What's the guy who wrote the books?
Elmore Leonard.
Yeah, that's the more in line with Elmore Leonard's vision of Raylan Givens was that kind of hat instead of the Stetson that he had. So Just a little fun fact to know and tell.
So yeah, I can't wait for Justified. Two of my all-time favorite shows.
Yeah,
they're getting more. They're getting more seasons.
All right.
And for all you quirky fans out there, Life Goes On is coming back.
Yeah. Is it going to be following Corky's life?
Is Corky still alive?
Yes.
He's in the.
Was he? Yes. What's he doing? I'm not gonna say.
Now he's working.
Where? Yeah, he's
Kroger.
No. Yeah. Oh my God.
Is he in the? Is there a trailer, or are there just rumors of?
No, they said they're bringing it back, but I mean, it may only be a pilot again.
All right. Well, Corky may be back in line if things don't work out well. Hey, speaking of things working out well, in casting news, Bill Murray is joining the Marvel Universe finally. Brian, I know you're a big Bill Murray fan.
I love Bill Murray.
And Podman Ron, you're probably thinking, why do we need another comedian in the Marvel Universe?
Like the Betty White. It's like everybody jumps on
today's Betty White's birthday on this recording, by the way. 100 years old today.
Everybody loves Bill Murray, but no one can tell you why they love Bill Murray.
Ooh.
I mean, what? He does wacky stuff here and there. He interrupts weddings and does that, but
that's annoying, right?
What has Bill Murray done? Give me a movie.
Any thoughts?
Give me a movie.
Groundhog's Day, Stripes, Ghostbusters,
Life Aquatic.
Those are like 40 years ago. Give me a movie in the past 15 years.
Zombieland.
Give me a movie he starred in.
The one with Scarlett Johansson.
What?
Oh,
whatever. The one with
Lost in Translation.
Lost in Translation.
Started in the last 15 years.
Well, exactly. He's been in a bunch of it in the past 10 years.
I feel like that exactly was coming no matter how many movies we mentioned.
I know, that's true.
It didn't matter how many Bill Murray hits and critically acclaimed films we listed. At the end, if it could have been a list 25 long, then he would have waited, paused, and said, exactly.
Yeah,
I just feel like
you can't name 26.
Bill Murray, but no one can tell me. I don't know why he hasn't been in anything lately.
Because he's old.
But so let me ask you this: maybe he hasn't been in anything recently, other than this mysterious Ant-Man villain in Quantumania. But of the stuff that he was in the past 50 years or so, do you like him, Podman Ron, or you just don't get it?
I like Stripes.
Okay, let's start there. His first movie.
I like
Caddyshack.
I like Meatballs.
Yeah, well, yeah. Are you ready for
Caddyshack?
the summer?
Yeah, Caddyshack's And I
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
And then downhill.
Ghostbusters 2?
Okay, but then after that, what?
Quick Change. Quick Change was a good movie.
Quick Change is a funny movie.
Huh?
I've never heard of Quick Change.
A heist movie with Gina Davis and what's his face?
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray and...
but there's a third guy. Who
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Jason Robards? Okay.
Quick Change is a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. All right, so Brian, let's get back on track here. Any thoughts of who an Ant-Man villain could be that maybe Bill Murray would fit the bill for?
I know.
Oh.
PMR has a suggestion.
I can it's not even going to be a suggestion. I can guarantee you this is who it's going to be.
Okay. So PMR guarantee.
It's going to be Egghead.
Excellent.
The classic villain for Hank Pym back in the day. That was one of his first villains. He doesn't look the part, but because the Egghead, the comic book had a big egg head and, a big fat body, but, it's a goofy name. Bill Murray's kind of a goofy fella. He's old, so he could be Hank Pym's nemesis. So I think that's who it's going to be. I think
he's a good guess.
So
I like it. Brian, what do you think? Give us one guess.
See, I just assume it'll be somebody that's created for the movie, kind of like or somebody super obscure like Walton Goggins in Ant-Man 2. I mean, technically that guy was from the Marvel universe, but he was nobody that of any importance.
They really missed the boat. Should have played Taskmaster.
Walton Goggins.
Yeah, he would have blew it out of the water playing Taskmaster, because Taskmaster in the comic is kind of like Deadpool in a way, and Walton Goggins has that range of comedy and badass bad guy. He would have been perfect for that role. Marvel really fucked up with that. Just my thought.
You heard it here, Marvel.
Yep, your own warning.
What else you fucked up on?
All right. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up, I would just check the trailers for Moon Knight. Still not seeing anything, but on YouTube at least. Brian, Moonfall. You said this is probably the most highly anticipated movie of the year. Moonfall, right?
Oh, because it's going to be so bad. It looks, but bad in a good way, right? It's the return of the. We haven't had these in a while because it's been such a Marvel and superhero glut, but like the apocalyptic Roland Emmerich End of the World film.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. It looks fun. It looks interesting. It looks something different than what we've been getting lately.
A throwback to the 90s.
Yeah.
This is a throwback to the 90s for sure, yeah.
Geostorm wasn't in the 90s, but Day After Tomorrow, those type things, right?
We had Armageddon and Deep Impact and God, what was some other ones?
Those others. Dante's
Inferno.
We
had Dante's Inferno. There was The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh yeah. God.
Which I still mess with my wife about to this day because her line from it was, "I really liked that movie. It had jaw-dropping special effects."
Oh.
That was her line. I've never heard anyone say that. I've read it on posters. I've never heard anyone say it aloud.
Jaw-dropping.
So,
wow.
It
really impressed her.
It really impressed her.
The fact that the winner was chasing people, it was the
and then the wolves were.
Well,
right.
They had to run to get into a building before the ice
quickly chased.
It wasn't just any building. It was a Burger King.
Yeah,
because that was the promotion.
I thought they went into a library or something.
Global warming was literally
at the end. Yeah.
Oh.
Global warming was literally chasing them down the street.
No. Well, now the moon's going to be chasing your ass. It sounds like the moon is falling. So, so that'll be a fun one. So no Moon Knight still. Oh yes.
We had 2012. Remember 2012?
When was that? Did it come out 2012?
Yes.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
I think that was the last of the disaster movies. I also think it was the last movie John Cusack booked.
I feel like there was one more disaster movie recently in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, what's his face was in the Greenland, right? The meteor falling. Nothing. I can't
Gerard Butler?
Butler, yes, thank you. I couldn't think of his last name. Yeah,
are you talking about? That's the one.
Geostorm.
Oh, okay, yeah, Geostorm. But was he also in Greenland? Yeah, Greenland is like 2 or 3 years old. It's a meteor falling on the Earth or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm talking about specifically like the Bayhem type Roland Emmerich apocalypse. Where it's the Earth, buildings are falling and planes are landing on those. Cessnas are landing on using those planes as runways, or using those buildings as runways to take off.
Those are the good ones. Well,
complete and utter bullshit.
Speaking of good ones, we lost a good one recently. All right, yes, friends, everybody knows by now. Raise your hand if you knew that he was the most beloved person in Hollywood next to Betty White, but Bob Saget. Bob Saget passed away, seemingly in his sleep.
Bad things about Bob Saget.
You never hear bad news about Bob Saget? Okay, I didn't know. I mean, I never really thought about Bob Saget much, but I didn't know he was so beloved.
Yeah, it is weird that whenever one of these celebrity passings happen, nobody's like, he was kind of an asshole.
He was a jerk.
Well, I watched a documentary on what was Gary Shandling about 6 months ago,
right
here, and that was one of the things. Bob Saget was on there, and it was really sad because he was crying on there about how Gary Shandling just didn't want to have anything to do with him because he felt like Bob Saget betrayed him.
Yep.
And God, it really bothered Saget still to this day. He was crying during that interview.
Not this day.
Yeah. Not anymore though.
Not anymore. He's at peace. I was going to send it to you guys. I forgot until just now. I remembered it. I saw that a little headline on Reddit was coroner or whoever declares that Bob Saget did not suffer, suffered heart attack. With the way that was written is like, sounds like he may have suffered a little bit, but we get it. But yeah, everybody in Hollywood loves Bob Saget, and we loved him from America's Funniest Home Videos. And
yeah, I never really watched Full House.
I guess that was no
American Home Videos.
I watched some of Full House. There was a time, because I was a little bit younger than you guys.
There was a time where I had to watch ABC
where TGIF
shows.
Was attractive to me.
Yes.
You love
Family Matters, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I was more into Family Matters than Full House, but you had to sit through Full House to get to Family Matters.
Who wasn't in the Family Matters?
Everybody loves Steve Urkel.
Oh, my God. If you try to watch Family Matters now, I dare you to try to watch 2 episodes without being like, oh, my God, this Steve Urkel character is horrible. He is horrible.
Well, it's kind of like it's a time capsule of that era. It's like, who would have thought that was funny? But we all did. We all did.
Funny, we talked about it. Saturday Night Live. Y'all see Saturday Night Live the other night? They did a spoof on, how the Fresh Prince is now doing a updated Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
And it's
and it's like a serious take on the Fresh Prince of the 90s. Well, Saturday Night Live did a spoof about Urkel. And it's go back. You can watch it on YouTube. That's where I watch it because I don't.
Right. They're going to Brady Brides it.
But it was pretty funny actually. But yeah, I never watched Family Matters or any TGIF. I think I was already past that point.
Even Step by Step with the buxom Suzanne Summers.
Yep.
Nope.
Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Summers.
Patrick Duffy
and Suzanne Summers. Nope.
No, we will miss Bob Saget.
as
we remember the shows that aired around this time.
Yeah. Bob Saget, what's weird is he had such a duality. His comedy was really,
a little blue.
R-rated, right? A little blue, but then he's known as this family man, corny jokes on corny jokes on.
Have either one of you ever watched his comedy stand-up? Because I never have. So
I wasn't crazy about it. I haven't watched it recently, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was worth watching or not.
You should give it a shot just to drive up his numbers. Give him a few bumps.
Nah, I'm fine. I'm good.
All right. Well, let's move over to movies.
Well, Brad,
yes.
Before we get into movies,
yes,
I need to ask and see if this is a thing, or if there I don't know a name for it. I feel like there should be a name for it, but we just gave an in memoriam for Bob Saget, right?
Right.
What do you call it when there's a celebrity you were certain was dead and you find out they're still alive?
The Buzzied? You got Buzzied?
Yeah. Like the Ruth Buzzy. Ruth Buzzy posted on her. I follow Ruth Buzzy. Ruth Buzzy from Laugh-In posted that she was at Cracker Barrel and somebody walked up to her and said, "I thought you were dead," and she said, "Sorry to disappoint you." so, but I as well thought Ruth Buzzy was dead.
I would assume
there should be, there should be a term.
I think it's called the Mandela effect. The
Mandela.
Mandela
effect.
Well, no, because that's got like a deja vu component to it. The Mandela effect. This should be more along the lines of like the in memoriam. Yeah. Like there's got to be some sort of Latin phrase we can glom on to, like in memoriam, to express our startled surprise when we think someone's dead and they're not.
Someone died not too long ago. We were like, I thought he was already dead. I can't remember.
Dean Stanton.
Yes, you're right. It was Dean Stanton, and we were like, I thought he already died like a few years back. Yeah, like we need to have that. So let's work on this. What's the term? Let's workshop. What's the term? And we can be trailblazers on this. Yeah, we can create a new trend.
Start getting securing those Twitter names.
Unless Jim listens to our podcast and she's gonna steal it for the office ladies.
The phenomenon when a celebrity you were certain was dead, surprisingly you find out is still alive.
Is their career count or just their physical health?
Their physical health.
Okay.
So I wanted to.
I don't know. We'll think about that. I mean, most of the time, when Ruth Buzzy is at Cracker Barrel, most of the time she just hears, "Can I have some more sweet tea, hon?" I mean, that's normally what she hears when she's at Cracker Barrel. All right. Well, anyway, we will miss Bob Saget.
She was Far Out Space Nuts. So
Far Out Space Nuts.
Come on, she was a Sid and Marty Krofft Far Out Space Nut.
Yep. A regular nuts herself.
Yep.
That's Far Out Space Nut fans.
Yeah.
Or was she Lost Saucer? She was Lost Saucer. Never mind.
With Gomer Pyle, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you going to
Gilligan?
Lost?
Yeah.
Far Out Space Nut was Gilligan and
Chuck somebody.
Yeah,
Chuck McMahon or something weird like that. I don't know. All right. Anyways, bottom
between those two.
Yeah, that'd be a good remake, right? Anyway, we are going to miss Bob Saget like the Dickens, right? All right, movies. All right, Brian.
Don't talk about Scream.
Well, Brian has seen Scream.
I've seen Scream.
And tell me, I don't know. You just gotta wait.
The notes here says Scream, and then it says Nope. Have not seen it. Going this week. So I assume that was PMR saying that, right?
Me, yes.
Okay. All right. So you can't talk about Scream, Brian. Did you like it?
It was fine.
All right,
it's fine.
You're not going to stop somebody from seeing it?
Can I talk about Scream 4?
No. What is Scream 4?
The one that came out 10 years ago.
No.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Have you seen Scream 4?
I have.
So, recently or 10 years ago?
4.
Scream. I watched, because I had not watched 4. I'd seen the first 3. I think the third one came out like the early 2000s. And then they waited, and then they did Scream 4 in 2011, which I'd never seen. So I went in and watched it to make sure I was current. Scream 4 does not matter.
Blind.
Scream 4 does not matter at all to this movie.
All right, good. That's good information for our listeners.
Do you remember who the killer was in Scream 4?
It was her niece or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was her cousin.
Yeah.
Her cousin was the villain.
It was Emma Roberts.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, so this one, honestly, you could watch the first one and this one and cut out all the other stuff. You don't need to.
All right, let's move on to Don't Look Up.
I'm not giving you any spoilers.
You know he gets.
You could watch
He gets very nervous about this, Brian.
For our listener, you don't have to watch 2, 3, or 4. Just watch the first one and then this one, and you'll be much happier.
Okay.
So
Okay, I don't want to hear it.
Don't
All right,
look up.
Brian, did you want to talk about Don't Look Up, a disaster film within itself, right?
yeah, a disaster film within itself. Don't Look Up. I watched. It's Adam McKay, which I like Adam McKay.
Love
I mean,
Adam
it had
McKay.
An all-star cast, right?
Love an all-star cast. What could go wrong here?
And it just fizzled. The the movie. The plot is there's an asteroid heading towards Earth. They notify the government with plenty of time to do something about it, and the government completely fails at every opportunity.
Sounds real.
What's that?
It sounds realistic. To be honest with you.
It is, but except you realize it's as if there's only one party in the government. It's like there's never two parties, right? It's like there's this whole missing piece to the plot because and it's an election year. Like part of the whole thing is it's election year, and or it's the next year's an election year, and so they're cycling up the campaign. But who the hell is she running against? And you'd think the asteroid would be like a political, powder keg. No, none of that's ever mentioned. So it's like, if they want to say it's the failure of the government and the political system, okay, but really it was they just pressed the Trump button over and over and over and over again. So it's to the detriment of the film. It would have been a much better film if you'd shown like the deadlock and this candidate is screwing it up because of this, and that candidate's screwing it up because of that, and this is why we can't ever get anything solved, right? That's a better story, or at least I think it probably makes their point better than what they actually put together, right? It was so. I mean, it's all just a veiled criticism of how COVID was handled, and that's the whole thing with Don't Look Up is them saying don't worry about the asteroid, just don't look at it.
Gotcha.
Just don't look at it. Yeah, we'll be fine. You don't want to hear about that asteroid, do you? Don't worry about it. We're good. So, that's the mantra, I guess, for the movie. But it would have been a much better film if it had focused on more the duality of the political system and because it seems like the decisions that the president's making are so absurd. The fact that nobody challenges her on it just makes it.
Wait, who is a female president?
Yeah, it's Meryl Streep is the president.
So it is sci-fi, fantasy.
It's fine. It's fantasy. It's sci-fi.
Well, not to interrupt, Brian, but it appears 37 minutes ago the Moon Knight trailer did drop on the Marvel Studios Instagram page.
All right, how is it?
I don't know. I was listening to Brian, so I haven't watched it yet.
No.
Well, anyway. So what do you recommend? Don't give it don't look up. Don't look up.
Don't look at it. Don't look up and don't look at it.
I watched the last 10 minutes of it so I could watch everybody die. So that was entertaining.
It's weird watching it. I really just wanted to go watch Mars Attacks again.
I watched that about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, it's like they're trying to. It's like they were kind of sort of trying to go for that vibe in some parts, and Mars Attacks is a much better film.
Yep.
So.
All right.
I'm going to take a pause here. Y'all can talk about yourself. I'm going to watch this Midnight trailer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, Brian, let's go ahead and go over to TV land since Podman Ron has other things to do. So we got these two TV shows, not talking about Moon Knight, of course, Boba Fett and Peacemaker. Both of them 3 episodes in, and it feels like fairly divided between you two as far as love and hate. Do we want to just talk about these? Do we want to talk about these as they come, or wait till the season's over?
Let's go ahead.
I think we could
do it like a report card. It's like do every 3 episodes. So
all right.
What do y'all...
All right.
Yeah, I'm good with that. The Peacemaker is been very enjoyable. I
actually like Peacemaker a lot. It's
John Cena is great in it. He's like an R-rated The Rock.
He's an R-rated Rock.
Yeah.
But you remember that was always PMR's biggest gripe about Suicide Squad. And
Was John Cena?
he didn't like John Cena.
Yeah.
Doesn't care about John Cena.
And now, but John Cena has proved he's got kind of a range. He's got the chops.
But then I say that I did like him in the Suicide Squad. I didn't like it when they cast him because I didn't think I just thought that was just kind of a lame casting, like stunt casting. But I liked him in the movie once I saw the movie, and I like him here too. He has surprised me with not only his acting chops, he surprised me with his
comedic chops.
Yeah, I mean he's really funny.
There you go. All right,
yeah, it's a very good show. I'm enjoying it thoroughly so far. And James Gunn, I think we mentioned this before. I think James Gunn said he directed like 6 of the 8 episodes.
Well,
so
all the episodes have been great. I really want to focus more on his dad, Robert Patrick. His dad's great.
Yeah, we'll find out more about him pretty soon, probably, won't we?
Yeah. All of it. It's been a great show. It's so funny to watch a show like this, and then you watch Boba Fett, and the styles are just so different. And,
but to be fair, it's different audiences too.
It is. And
Peacemaker and Boba Fett. I don't know if you can compare the two.
The other one's Disney Plus, and I get that. And I wouldn't want, Boba Fett to
be cussing,
be
having sex with people.
Yeah, but I sure the hell don't want him to be doing what he's doing now. I mean, so.
All right, well, let's take so Peacemaker, John Cena stars, picks up right after Suicide Squad, movie
right.
pretty much, where he is recruited by kind of the same team that was in the Suicide Squad, most of the same team, and he's going after...
The ones that turned on Waller. The ones that turned on Waller and kept Waller from blowing up the charges in their brains.
And they're on Project Butterfly, or after hunting down these butterflies, which we find out a little bit more about at the end of the 3rd episode. So we have some of the characters that we've met before, and some of the characters that James Gunn is boning before, and as well as a new one, including Amanda Waller's daughter, who I think is fantastic in this as well. I mean, one of the things that it seems like the magic of James Gunn maybe is that he puts together a great ensemble to where there's not a whole lot of weak links in there. Like each one of them has a little bit of something to where you're like, oh, okay, you're not bored when so-and-so's on screen. I think that's really does well.
That's a little bit of the Whedon effect, right? I mean, that's kind of like what Joss Whedon always used to do.
Right.
Well, everybody has their own distinct, different personality, and they all play off of each other's personality, which makes it enjoyable.
Also enjoyable is Vigilante from the 1980s. Comes in a little bit different version of Vigilante than maybe the comic books had, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, completely different. Other than the costume, there's nothing that resembles, and the fact that his name's Adrian Chase, nothing
he loves killing,
resembles the Vigilante. So, which is fine. I mean, if you're going to do it for a character, do it for Vigilante. But
Judo Master appearing. I know he's in DC Comics, but was he in Legion of Superhero or something, or was he?
Who?
Judo Master. I think he was just a 4th tier villain, right?
Yeah. Judo Master. He was just in DC. He was.
Was he a villain?
Yeah, he was a villain. Like he was. Some of that. I think he's a Denny O'Neil character.
That sounds about right.
Is he I know I've seen him. I've seen the costume. I've seen him in a book, but I can't think of which book he was in. Or
forgettable. He's forgettable.
Well, like I said before, he's taking all these 4th tier characters, and he's just having a ball with them, and playing with them.
But everybody loves it so far. It's gotten really good reviews. Everybody loves the opening credits, the dance sequence.
I love the dance sequence.
James Gunn loves the dance sequence, and the music is certainly a part of it as well. All the heavy metal, '80s glam, hairband music plays a big part of it as well.
I feel like that's another thing of James Gunn. Of course, with the Guardians of the Galaxy, he incorporated music as part of the storyline, and he's kind of doing it a little bit here with Peacemaker. That's his
jam.
Yeah, he likes the old music, the '80s music. So
yeah, but those aren't '80s bands, are they? If they are, they're super obscure.
There are a lot of obscure ones there. Of course, not Cinderella, mind you, which was one of my favorite bands.
I'm talking about
not Cinderella, but like there's
Pretty Boy Floyd was, I think, in the '80s. I think okay. My assumption is they're all real bands that were extremely obscure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think HBO's got a hit, Brad. I think that's.
Well, I'm glad for him. I'm very glad for him.
I'm glad for him too.
And then you mentioned his father, played by the Terminator, and we'll see a little bit more interesting things develop with him. And then Brian Eagley. You were excited about Eagley from the trailers, and Eagley kind of doesn't disappoint either, right?
No. It reminds me. Eagley, I think, reminds me of like Harvey Birdman, like some of the Harvey Birdman gags. Right. So yeah, I'm down for Eagley as well.
He's hugging me. Take a picture.
Dad.
Put around.
Dad.
He's hugging me.
Yeah, the one thing that I did find in there, and maybe it's because the quips do come pretty quickly. They're pretty fast-paced and everything. It has a lot of rewatchability as well. I think I've rewatched them twice now.
Yeah, there's like a Community Arrested Development sort of vibe to the dialogue too. Yeah.
It's really quick. You have to kind of maybe hear it a couple of times before you're like, oh, okay, I get the joke now. So everybody loves it. We'll talk about it a little bit more when the series is over or in a few more episodes.
Real quick, how many episodes are there? I never heard.
I believe it's 8.
I think 8.
And like I said, James Gunn directed virtually all of them. So
okay, well, I would hope so. I mean, this was his baby alone. I guess he fought for this or asked for it.
I guess.
I don't think he fought for it. I think Warner Brothers was so pleased with Suicide Squad. They asked him if he had any other ideas, and he said, "Well, what if I spin Cena off?" So, and then now they come back to him again and say, "What do you want to do after this?"
Right.
So,
well, I will be interested to hear Absolute Alex's opinion since he loved the Suicide Squad so much. But I don't think he was looking quite forward to the Peacemaker, so it'll be interesting to see if he changes his mind on that. Speaking of changing people's minds, Boba Fett. People love Boba Fett as a character, but according to you two, maybe we don't need him in a TV show.
I liked the first 2 episodes. I mean, they weren't, best TV, but they were okay to watch, and I was like, okay, this is to pick up. And by the 3rd episode,
and that third one.
Well, not only the 3rd episode, not only was it just bad, it feels like they've decided to make a huge total shift in the show.
You mean like his personality of, a badass to Mr.
No, now he's got the Newsies backing him up.
Right.
The cyborg super Power Rangers backing him up with their Pee Wee Herman scooters.
I swear to God, it reminded me of Back to the Future too.
It was a little bit odd, right?
When he was chased by all those cybernetic, futuristic punks from the future, Times Square on the hoverboards. That's what that chase scene reminded me of. The characters were absolutely ridiculous. They looked like a bunch of '80s rejects from video, Friday Night Video.
Yeah, and they look like Biff in that helmet.
Oh my God, it was awful. And then let's not, badass Boba Fett, so he goes to confront these people to get this guy his money, or they basically call him an old man punk ass, and he doesn't do anything except, well, y'all want to work for me? I mean, God, it was terrible. I mean, Jesus Christ, I didn't want to see fucking Boba Fett just bow down to a bunch of fucking kids. He should have beat the ass out of one of them and then said, okay, now you motherfuckers are going to work for me. But no, he's like, oh, I respect y'all. I'm going to give y'all a job. God, it was so bad.
Well, and then you've got probably, I would say the most interesting part of the first 2 episodes was the Tusken Raider stuff.
Yeah.
And they killed all of them.
Yeah, no, the best part of the show. By the 3rd episode, I thought we were going to see like some more backstory, but nah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, the kid lived. Nope, there's the kid. The kid's dead on the ground. And it's like, why? It's like, the Tusken Raider stuff was interesting. It would be cool to see him bringing the Tusken Raiders in as his army with whatever the future conflict is going to be, right?
Yeah.
Later on, whenever Jabba, the Hutts, whatever the big bad reveals himself and comes after Boba, it'd be cool to have that over the ridge moment where the Tuskens come running in. You know what I mean?
It would have been cool, but no.
They're all dead.
Hey, we don't need no Tusken Raiders.
I thought we would have seen the Tusken Raiders up until like the 7th or 8th episode, towards the end, and then you'd finally see them, leave and get to the point where he is now. But no, 3rd episode, we're just going to do away with them.
And it was just by that biker gang. I mean, that biker gang, we saw them. It was like 5 people. It took out an entire village of Tusken Raiders. I don't know. It is. It feels like they were like, all right, enough Tusken Raiders. Let's get on with something else. I feel like this is the first. Hang on one second. This is the first time I feel like the marketing department has gone in and fucked with one of these Star Wars shows on Disney Plus. And it's like, well, we can't sell Tusken Raider toys, and we got to have more characters than just, Fennec and Boba, because we've already seen them. You know what? We need a Rancor. We need a Rancor pit. Rancor trainer. We need
Danny Trejo.
We need 5 different vehicles and 5 different, kid skewing characters that'll, lightning in a bottle.
Well, and another thing is they're also like, okay, we cannot have a villain be the star of this TV show.
Right.
So we've got to soften him up. He's got to, his attitude's changed now. He's not a bounty hunter. He's just a good guy.
Right.
Just trying to do right now. And, oh my God, it's just.
But again, in the context of this is a kid's show, that's okay. The fact that they kind of made it over the top goofy this 3rd episode with the hover bikes and all that kind of stuff, that's a little bit like, that's a little bit too much.
But the Mandalorian, if you want to do the fucking.
Yeah, you can soften his edge. I'm
right.
okay with softening his edge. But even Tamura Morrison, who plays Boba Fett, made the statement this week that Boba's got too many lines. He has too much dialogue.
Yeah, he did say that. I've read that. Yeah.
Which is true. I mean, he should be, stoic. He should be, chiming in. But
he's fucking talking and taking off that fucking helmet.
He won't leave that goddamn helmet on for nothing.
For
nothing.
That is not the way for him.
Fuck.
So
he should play Egghead. That fucking head is egg shaped.
As long as you don't give him too many lines. He does not want to remember them lines. He is sick of that shit. Hey, can I just, I don't want to be in makeup and I don't want to talk. Can you just keep the helmet on me and me nod a lot? That's what that other guy did, right?
Yeah, that's what the other guy didn't want to do. He wants to leave the helmet on and keep his mouth shut. It's weird. Like, it's, I don't know. It's
bad. It's just bad.
It's just bad. It's, here's the thing. We used to say Marvel didn't have the problems DC had because DC was, movies by committee, and you had too many cooks, right? I feel like that's what we're getting now. We're getting now with these projects, too many cooks. You got too many cooks when we did Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? We had too many. Now you're seeing it in the Star Wars stuff, where it's producers are trying to shove stuff in, marketing's trying to shove stuff in, and story doesn't matter. Selling the toys does.
Maybe. But
So-
again, that's you. But you just said you both said you like the first 2 episodes. This is just one. Maybe we stumble a little bit on episode 3. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was a big stumble though.
All right. Well, maybe they'll bring the old Boba back.
They went down a flight of stairs. So
All right. Well, we've got a few more episodes of that, and again, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine.
well, and considering I think it's only 6 episodes, right?
I don't know.
We just wasted one of the episodes on this shit.
On the biker gang.
Oh, is
on
it
this biker. I think it's only 6 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, this. Oh. Yeah, I don't think the fans will rally around this show too much. I'm sure everybody's. I haven't really read the reviews, but I'm sure
People hated it. Like it's getting a ton of hate.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan, and Boba Fett was just always a cool character back. I mean, Brad, when we were growing up,
Yeah.
Boba Fett was like, look how kick-ass he is. Like kick-ass armor. He never really said anything, and he, did his job, did it really poorly, and
I know. Well, that's what I was about to say. As we're talking about the goofiness of this, least we forget Boba Fett's big, everybody loved him in Return of the Jedi, where he did woo 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 woo, and as he falls down the Sarlacc pit. I mean,
he was a badass in Empire Strikes Back.
Least we forget the origins that, again, he came from a children's movie and he's in a children's TV show. So give him a break if he wants to have a
Well, and they
game.
also mentioned the Star Wars cartoon, the Star Wars Christmas special, the animated sequence when he rode the sandworm. Because he wants to ride the Rancor.
Oh, okay.
And the Rancor, he's like, oh, you couldn't ride it. He's like, I've ridden bigger.
Ah.
So he's referencing that sandworm. Did you guys notice? And I guess I don't think I've ever seen this clip of it. I'm sure it was shot way back when, but there's a scene, and it's a little bit more over the shoulder of Boba when he picks up Jango Fett's helmet. So they played it in this episode, but it's like, he'll have those flashbacks to where where Jango died. Well, this one, it looks a little bit different. The angle's just a little bit different. He picks up the head, but he picks up that helmet full. Now, in other ones, he's always kind of picked it up where it's like
the head's
kind of like laying
fall
down.
Right.
Yeah. Now he picks it up fully like that, and I'm like, why the hell isn't the head falling out of this helmet?
I thought the same thing too. I know what you're talking about
Maybe it fell out and tumbled somewhere else. Maybe he's just looking at the helmet.
The
head should have dropped out. That would have saved this episode. I could have forgiven everything else if Jango Fett's head had rolled out of that helmet.
There you go.
That would have been much better.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's weird because the angle, it's like they're like, oh, we found some extra footage. Let's use some of this so it's different. But they're like, well, does gravity not apply?
Maybe his head's
What's that, Pierre?
I said maybe his head was just stuck in there.
Yeah. His big old fat head.
Jammed up in there.
Jammed up in there. Just like PMR's face is jammed up in our nostrils. There he goes.
You got to give it a shake, Bubba. You can tax it on the top of the helmet.
Just like a ketchup bottle. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, as we're talking about old movies, let's go to the retro review. PMR, you are so enamored by Spider-Man that you wanted to go back and revisit The Amazing Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield and Jamie Foxx in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I did. I went back and I watched this, and I even paid $3 to see it again.
Wow.
2 nights.
Wow.
And about 15 minutes into it, I regretted it.
You wanted your $3 back?
My $3 back.
Now you know why there was no Amazing Spider-Man 3, right?
Everything was poor about it. And you know what? And me and Alex will fight over this because, he really likes Andrew Garfield. He feels like that's
right
the best Spider-Man. And I don't see it. He's just, to me, he's just not Spider-Man. He doesn't convey the same nerdiness, awkwardness, anything that Spider-Man is supposed to convey, or 50 years of the. Yeah, so I didn't like it. I liked the Gwen Stacy in it. I thought she was good.
Yeah.
But the whole Green Goblin thing, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Green Goblin comes to him. Harry Osborn's like, I'm dying of this disease. I need Spider-Man's help. Just give me some, if Spider-Man can give me some of his blood. And Spider-Man's like, oh, fuck you. No, I'm not going to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it'll we don't know what it'll do. And Harry's like, well,
I'm
I know what
dying
it'll
anyway.
do. If I'm dying anyway, help me out here, and he wouldn't do it. So it's kind of hard to feel bad for Spider-Man there on that part.
Wow.
When Harry wanted to kill him.
So do you think that Andrew Garfield needs a third Spider-Man just to finish off that trilogy, or you're sort of like, you know what, he doesn't deserve it after all?
You know what? Since that last movie, No Way Home, I wouldn't mind seeing him finishing off the trilogy. Why not?
Okay.
It was a bad movie altogether. I mean, it was terrible. But
Did you rewatch the first one?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
So I got a feeling that one's a little bit better than this, but
Not by much.
I mean, the whole subway train tokens, and he finds a secret thing of his dad, and oh my god, it was just everything was just
I don't
awful.
even remember that. Yeah.
Well, there was that what if, and I think then they made it, Marvel proper that,
Peter's parents.
Peter's parents were Shield agents, or somehow worked for Shield.
Yeah,
And so,
they introduced that back in the 70s, that they were like Shield agents back then, which was weird, but I don't know. It was just terrible. It was all terrible.
All right, so give Andrew Garfield a third movie just to wrap his shit up and then kick his ass to the side, right?
Wrap his shit up, kick him to the curb, be done with it,
And no more.
and we talked about pitches, right? So we said, pitch for Andrew Garfield could be Craven's Last Hunt, which would be pretty cool. And then we pitched Spider-Girl for Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
But then PMR and I were talking a little bit later about what do you do for Tobey Maguire, and I had an idea for not Tobey Maguire, for Tom Holland. But since it's going to be the college years, you bring in Gwen Stacy, and you can introduce the Jackal, and either have the Jackal as the main bad guy or kind of in the background. But and I argued also go ahead and since you'll have the Jackal, you'll have all that stuff going on, a new cast of friends. Bring in, Hobie Brown, Prowler, and bring in Felicia Hardy as Black Cat.
And do the Clone Saga. Go ahead and embrace the Clone Saga.
You could.
The Clone Saga is, over the past few years, really, it's gained more respect. Than it had back in the 90s. I always liked the Clone Saga. I didn't think it was that bad. So.
Well, I even know what the stinger could be at the end of the movie. I can kind of pitch this to you, right? So whatever happened, the whole story is going to be, Jackal has got is one of their professors. He's in love with Gwen Stacy. He cracks cloning. He tries to clone Gwen Stacy. You could do any of that sort of stuff, but at the end of the movie, you can have the running joke that Peter's always late. Because he was always, that was one of the Tobey Maguire things. He was always late for everything, right? Because he always got sidetracked with something, Spider-Man interfering with his Peter Parker life. So you could have that running gag that he's always late for class, he's always late for this, he's always late for that, and then at the end of the movie, he wakes up late, he dashes across campus to get to class, he gets into class, and then he's already in the class.
Already there.
He's in the class on time, and that's, the clone is there. And so you've already kind of got like an identity crisis thing going on with the way No Way Home ended. If you're going into that, into the next trilogy with the Clone Wars, not Clone Wars, but Clone Saga.
painting, and this is where I thought that it was kind of cool in the comic book for a while, and everybody lost their shit. Where you don't really know which one's the which.
Well, right. You could even say, like, it could be like, well, no, the one we followed this whole movie is the real one. Well, yeah, but he could be the one that made it to class on time.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah,
we don't. The one that was booking across camera, is that the clone, or is the one sitting there in class the clone?
Yep, you don't.
And
know.
then that's the cliffhanger heading into the next movie.
And then in the next movie, you really you could have them interact and do different things, but you really throughout the whole movie until maybe the very end, you don't know which one's really Peter or not. So, I think it's a great idea. I really like that idea. I like the Clone Saga being introduced. So
I like if we could get Jim Carrey to play the Jackal and just use his Grinch outfit again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be easy.
Just reuse that. All right. Speaking of reusing stuff, what's that?
Jim Carrey's supposed to be playing something in the Marvel Universe. I think is it MODOK, or it's been rumored that he's playing MODOK.
Yeah, the rumors he's playing MODOK. I don't think it's official, though.
Poor Patton Oswalt.
Poor Patton Oswalt.
Well, fuck.
Fuck Patton Oswalt. Speaking of things revisiting everything, Matrix trilogy. Brian, I guess it's not a trilogy; it's a quadrilogy.
Yeah.
You watched all 4 of them?
Yeah, the kids had not seen the Matrix trilogy, and man, just like all of us, right? We were stoked after seeing that first Matrix film. You know,
Yeah.
everybody was in love with the Matrix. You know, it broke the fourth wall. It bit, you know, it completely blew up the box, right? Because it was like, wait, this isn't reality. So if this was reality,
Yeah.
you can manipulate it, you know?
Right.
And they blew the kids' minds. Like, they loved the first Matrix. And then we watched the second.
Yeah.
And the second, it was like, yeah. I mean, they couldn't stop raving about the first Matrix film. And then when we watched Matrix Reloaded, they were kind of like, yeah, so, okay, it was good. Oh, it was good. It was good. You know, it was that apologetic,
Right.
you know, review. They come to the third one. I think when it ended, they just got up and, like, left the room.
Yeah.
They were like, they were done. They were like,
That was
so
me
it
at the
was
second
we
one.
watched it. They didn't complain, but at the same time, the novelty had completely worn off, and it didn't matter how original the first movie was. It had squandered all of the equity for two 12-year-olds. Like, two 12-year-olds were over it by the end of the third.
Yep.
And then we watched the fourth. And the fourth is so meta. It's so self-referential. It's so meta. It's to the point where it's like, I'm fairly certain there's no fucking plot to this thing.
Oh, really?
Like, there's no, like, so essentially, Neo is back in the Matrix, and so is Trinity. Now, they both died at the end of the Matrix 3. So it's like, well, how are they still alive? But they're in the Matrix, and the Matrix, everybody knows what the Matrix is because it was a video game that Neo created in the late 90s.
Okay.
Right? And so it was a huge video game property and franchise. And so they're wanting him to make a new Matrix video game. Like, he's done some other video games that weren't as popular, and they even say Warner Brothers wants you to make a new Matrix video game. You need like that. Put all your other stuff aside. You're making a new Matrix video game, and he keeps having flashes. They're acting like he got so deep into the game, kind of like that Black Mirror episode where they were programming the video game. Like that, he got so deep into the video game, he kind of like lost, reality. And that's how they explain like all the nutty stuff he remembers. And then you find that his partner in the company is Smith.
Oh, interesting.
So Agent Smith is now Jonathan Groff from Hamilton and a bunch of different Disney movies. He's Agent Smith, and they don't explain why. Why would you put, those two combustible elements right next to each other in the Matrix. Like, if you got them both under control, why would you put them together? And then Trinity lives a block from where Neo does. So he sees her at the coffee shop all the time. And so, again, why would you, if these are your three biggest problems and what nearly broke the Matrix, why would you put them all together, break them apart, keep them as far apart as possible? They don't really, they kind of make some reference to, it doesn't explain anything. And then, like, Agent Smith's motivations don't make a lick of fucking sense in the movie. They make no sense whatsoever. And then it's even you don't understand, because at the end of the third movie, it's supposed to be peace, right? There's supposed to be peace between the Matrix, and if anybody wanted to leave, they could leave. There's a new architect that's running the Matrix now. And so there's this whole weird who's in control of the Matrix now, and they kind of leave it as Neo and Trinity are in control of the Matrix. It's just, it was not great. I mean, the special effects were really good. There was way too many homages to the first film and way too much meta referential stuff to the first film. It's to where it's like, I don't know that there's, and this is something that came up they coined a term in Scream called a requel, right? Which is kind of cool because it's meta. It's basically what they do now. They even say it. You can't just relaunch a property. The old school fans will hate it. You can't just relaunch a property. You got to bring back the old characters to then pass the baton to the new characters. So it's like a reboot and a sequel. It's a requel, right? Well, and that's what they did with Ghostbusters, right? That's what they're doing with this Matrix. They're introducing new characters, bringing back old characters, and trying to like push it into another movie or another trilogy. Same thing you did with the Star Wars movies. You introduced Leia and Han and Chewie in the first one, and you brought back Luke in the second one. And so it's like nobody's going to watch a Star Wars movie without Luke. Okay, here's Luke, or here's the promise of Luke. All right, now Luke's dead, but keep watching, and hopefully they don't get too pissed off.
What I get confused about with these, no one wants another. No one has been asking for another Matrix. Terminator. It's like they keep making these Terminator movies. No one's asking for them. I mean, it's like,
who wants it? Who wants another one?
It's unfortunate with Terminator because Terminator 3 was awful. Terminator Salvation was awful. Terminator Genesis was awful, right? But then they did Terminator Salvation. And Terminator Salvation, when they brought back Linda Hamilton, it's actually a really good movie.
Which one? The last one?
The very last one.
Oh, Dark Fate?
Dark Fate. There you go.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Terminator Dark Fate. So it's still not as good as the first or the second, but it's a satisfying end to that trilogy. So you can watch, Terminator, T2, and then the very last Terminator movie, and it's satisfying. It's enjoyable. But people were so sick of it at that point, nobody went to go see it.
Well, the problem is with the Terminator, they keep rehashing it. Like, they don't move the story past. It's like, okay, now we're doing another time travel, and we're going to revisit parts of the first two movies, but we're going to change it up a little bit because time travel. And I don't know. It's just like, just move past the story. Let's go into the war, the robots, or something. I mean, we just keep going back into the time travel.
Well, that too was a requel, right? Because you brought back Linda Hamilton.
Right.
You brought back Arnold. But then you introduced a new Terminator, and you introduced the new John Connor. Right?
Wish they just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe there is people out there that really want to see a new Matrix. Maybe this wasn't what they wanted to see. But it's kind of like Avatar. I don't see who the fuck wants to see Avatar? And we're going to be getting those movies in the next couple of years.
Well, just because James Cameron got it greenlit 10 years ago, and he's just taking his sweet ass time. Fox has got to be like over it.
Why do we do that? Why do we do that? They should just close them down. So for the Matrix, the fourth Matrix movie, Matrix, what is it? Resurrections? Is that it?
Yeah.
What?
Matrix Resurrections.
What do you? Is it worth a watch, or you're saying skip it? You're never going to see another Matrix movie. Stop at number one.
Definitely stop at number one. I can tell you
Definitely stop at number one.
Yeah, you don't need it. You don't need it.
Stop at one. That's it. That's all you needed. If you've watched 2 and 3, go ahead. I guess I'll give the film a 3. So if you watched 1, this film's if you watched the first movie, you haven't watched any of the other ones, stop. This one's a 1. If you've spent 9 hours of your life watching this, go ahead and watch this one. I'll give it a 2.
Oof.
2.
All right. Why bother? 2's a why bother. Brian, why bother?
I thought about watching it, but I don't know. I like the first Matrix, but God, it's been 20 years since I've watched them. Just I have no interest in any of it.
Yeah.
I will say, all right, I'll revise that a little bit. The setup of this movie is pretty good. Until Neo gets unplugged, it's pretty good. And then it's kind of interesting the way they find him and they realize that he's not dead. That's kind of interesting. And I was on board for all that. The minute he gets unplugged, it just falls apart. So,
all right, you may be talking me into it with that revision. I like that.
So watch. All right. So so watch the first movie and then watch the first 35 minutes of this one.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. I've watched the first one and this. I kind of fell off of the second one, but we didn't bother watching the third one or this one. But maybe watch the
video
first
game
half
stuff interesting. I find the video game stuff interesting, and it's kind of cool the way they reintroduce Neo, or how they realize he's alive.
Okay, all right.
So,
all right, we'll give that a shot. What else is we got something I want to hear about this, Brian, because this is something I might be interested in. What you looking at, Brian? You're looking at Yellow Jackets on Showtime.
I am looking at Yellow Jackets on Showtime.
Is it still going on, or is it over with?
Season 1 ended, I think, this week. Episode 10.
All right, give us a one-line description of it.
Yeah, I'm curious.
High school soccer team
Girls
going
high
to
school
nationals.
soccer team?
Girls high school soccer team on their flight to the nationals crashes in a wilderness, and it's told in 2 timelines. It's told in the present, where you see the adults,
Right.
Teenagers, grown up and what they're dealing with, and then it flashes back to
The crash.
the crash, and a lot of them didn't live, and there's a component of it that's going to be Lord of the Flies, but you don't know what went wrong.
Okay.
So, other than the plane crashing.
Other than the plane crashing. It sounds, Podman Ron, any interest in that?
Yeah. What's it on, actually?
Showtime.
It's on Showtime.
Oh.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's what you do. And listeners, I suggest this to all of you. Showtime almost always runs a week-long, free trial.
Right.
All 10 episodes are out right now. So go, get your week-long trial. When you got this would have been great. It's a 3-day weekend. But when you got like a 3-day weekend, or you got a weekend where you can power through stuff, go ahead and sign up for that trial. And as soon as you're done watching it, unsubscribe.
There you go. That's a Brian promo right there.
It's a Brian guarantee.
All right, so
while you're watching it, check out Homeland.
All right, so back to
yeah.
Yellow Jackets.
Back to Yellow Jackets.
So good enough that you've watched all 10 episodes, or ever how many episodes?
Well, I will. I'm figuring on
you
episode
haven't
7
gotten it.
now.
Okay.
I haven't got
You're
all the way
sticking
through.
with it.
Sticking with it. It's interesting. The best part of the show is Christina Ricci is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And she was crazy as a teenager, and she's just as crazy now. She's enjoyable to watch. You don't know if they're slowly going crazy or if some of these kids had issues before the plane crashed anyway.
Right.
And like once the support system was gone, all the cracks started to show. So, but it's a good show. Enjoy it.
Is there any sci-fi elements to it so far, like Lost type stuff, or is it really, like you said, Lord of the Flies, cannibalism, things like that?
There's a little bit of not sci-fi, but supernatural. There's a little supernatural element to it. So part of it, when they crash in the very first episode, you see these symbols carved into a tree, and then I think in the second episode they find a cabin that's out there, but the owner of the cabin's like long dead. He's like mummified. But there's a crawl space in an attic space in the cabin that they find, and there's where he's like etched those symbols in the loft area, attic area. And one of the girls kind of has The Shining, right? So it's she's like really in tune with whatever's going on in the forest. She's in tune to it. And so that adds some ominous sort of horror aspects to it.
All right.
So, and you don't know if she's crazy,
right?
Or if you know. So.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
But that's a recommendation. I've been interested in wanting to watch it, but you know me. I'll just hear what you say about it and then just pretend like I watched it. Be able to talk about it intelligently based on your review.
There you go.
That's good enough for me. Podman Ron, are you watching anything nowadays?
No.
No? All right.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. Very good.
Before we go, why don't we all just take a minute and look at that trailer for Moon Knight and then talk about it real quick?
All right. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Official trailer on Disney Plus here. Let's see. Let's take a listen to it. Everybody got it pulled up?
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
I have a sleeping disorder. I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello, and welcome to Staying Awake.
All right, so he's chained to his bed, it looks like.
I'm losing it.
We'll catch you on. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
So is everybody British in Moon Knight Land here?
I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
Thank you.
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks.
Hip hop music.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? It must be very difficult. Voice in your head. Shut up! There's chaos in you. Embrace the chaos.
All right, so we finally get to see Moon Knight. All right.
Yeah. I feel like I'm schizophrenic.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the trailer.
After watching that,
What's that?
I said after watching that, I feel like I'm now schizophrenic, like Mark Spector.
Yeah. I mean, again, just like Batgirl's outfit that we started the episode with, we'll reserve opinions. You can't make too much out of the trailer, but it definitely seems like a different direction from my Moon Knight that I remember in the 80s, which I know he's gone through a lot of incarnations, so to speak, in the comic book land. So maybe this plays into a little bit of those, but a little bit less interesting to me. I don't know. Brian?
Well, it looks like they're going to start off with him in the Stephen Grant persona, and then he's going to have to tell the story, in flashbacks of the Moon Knight, which actually is how it, the Moon Knight in the 80s, the Bill Sienkiewicz run, that's how it actually started.
Right.
If you remember, he was Stephen Grant, and for like the first, that was his main identity back then. And Mark Spector, which is his real identity, is how he gained Moon Knight, but it told the tale in flashbacks with Mark Spector. So
yeah, I feel like we're going to get a lot of flashbacks in this.
Yeah, I feel like we are too. He's going to be remembering shit.
He's going to remember stuff every episode.
But I didn't see Jake Lockley in there, which was interesting.
I didn't see a Frenchie.
Yeah, I didn't see Frenchie either.
Marlon, yeah. Very disappointing. Brian,
no
first
Marlene.
impressions.
Layla.
It looked interesting. I think the character actor stuff probably looks better than the superhero stuff. I think at least in this first trailer, that looks more interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Is kind of like Daredevil season 1. It's Matt Murdock. It's not Daredevil.
Right.
That whole first season's not Daredevil. At the end of season 1, he dons the costume, but then he ditches the costume before the end of season 2.
Yeah.
So I think the origin part is more interesting in Daredevil than the actual superhero was, and I feel like that's kind of like the vibe we're getting with this. So
yeah, but the difference between the MCU stuff and that Netflix stuff is MCU embraces the costume heroes a little bit more than the Netflix.
Yeah, once he gets the costume, he's not coming out of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I feel like the I don't know, the Oscar Isaac part seems more interesting. I do think it's pretty obvious that he's going to find the costume because he's working at a museum, which is kind of lame.
Yeah, that is lame.
Just a quick way to get him into the costume,
right?
Instead of him actually not have to leave the country to go to Egypt in any way, shape, or form. So,
well, unless they do it in flashbacks, he finds the costume as Stephen Grant, but then he starts remembering
where he put it.
I got a feeling it's gonna be night at the museum.
Yeah,
I hope
he's the night janitor. And,
right,
he's
right.
Dusting a sarcophagus.
All of a sudden, it starts glowing.
Yeah. I think that may be pretty cheesy, like how he gets the costume.
I hope not.
All
I hope
right.
you're wrong.
Well, I'm glad we waited an hour and a half for that.
Well, there you go. See.
All right. Well, what you got coming up here? We got more Boba Fett and more Peacemaker.
Oh, we got Scream. We'll review Scream.
You'll watch Scream.
I will. I have seen it by then, so we'll definitely.
February 4th is Moonfall, so we'll have that coming up.
Okay.
When is it? February 4th.
February 4th.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll have a show by then.
I don't know the way we go.
Oh yeah. We're off to a slower start
This month. Isn't something else coming out this month besides Scream?
No.
It's supposed to be that vampire
Mobius
movie.
was supposed to, and it got pushed back to April.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking forward to that the movie, actually.
Something else that's disappointing with Disney Plus is they're only giving us one show at a time. It's like they can't get their production up to give us multiple shows at a time like Netflix does. So we'll get Book of Boba Fett, and it'll end right, and then Moon Knight will start.
Right.
But is that enough content to spend this much money on?
Sure.
Well,
they're making money.
Them, yeah. I mean, I guess they're just banking on the us fanboys who are, we like Star Wars, we like our Marvel and our Star Wars, so we're going to take money. Where else are you going to get that? I mean, you can't watch it anywhere else.
No, but at the same time, it's like if you had not bought into the hype, right, and you waited until Falcon and the Winter Soldier had ended, or even WandaVision, would was the hype there at the end of WandaVision that was there in episode 3? No,
not at all. No.
So it's like if you had waited and then you didn't end up watching WandaVision, would you have missed anything?
Exactly. Yeah.
Say Cap Winter Soldier, all of these. The best one has been Hawkeye. That Hawkeye's the one that of these series that has delivered.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything else has been just, and Mandalorian's good, but again, is it must see TV?
No, because no.
It's like of all the the streaming services, I feel like Disney Plus is like towards the bottom of these things.
I wouldn't agree. Netflix bores me. I've been thinking about getting rid of it. There's just nothing on Netflix. I tell you, HBO Max is probably the best one.
I would agree. Max is the best one.
If I had to cancel all my streaming services, that would be the one I'd keep. So
I agree. I believe HBO Max is the way to go.
Good.
And I heard they're going to launch a podcasting network.
That'd be
interestingly.
Awesome. They already got podcasts on HBO Max. You can listen to the Peacemaker podcast, Batman something adventures podcast.
Oh, yeah, the Batman serialized adventures. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah.
I wonder if they need any more content for their pod.
Doubtful.
They probably do.
Podcast.
Doubtful. Not they need quality content.
Doubtful.
Quality content. Oh, that's where you got me.
That's
where you got us.
That's the
where
difference.
You got me.
All right. Well, speaking of quality content, time for me to get some quality sleep.
There you go.
All right, guys.
All right. Well, until next time, Brian.
Save it for the podcast.